Good morning. Thank you all for coming. Sorry to keep you waiting a bit. I'm Eli Wilner. Welcome to the Nonprofit Help Desk's sequence on organizational development. This is course 1 of 6, as you know. I prepared the curricula for these courses, and if you look through them, you'll see that they're very ambitious, and may have been wondering how we can cover all that in one day. All I can say is we'll try our best. I'm obviously not going to go into as much depth on certain topics as I might if there were a course dedicated just to that topic, and some of these topics certainly could justify that. You know, we're talking about online marketing of your organization can be a course in and of itself. So for those, you'll get a good taste, you'll get some direction, you'll have an idea of, what to do to proceed, and definitely some actionable information that you can use. But that said, it's definitely not going to be the complete and last word on the topic. Other of the topics I decided to spend a little bit more time focusing on. In particular, you'll see that the program focuses more heavily on actually writing a grant proposal and the elements of a grant proposal than in other things. The idea behind that is that in all your outreach and marketing and organizational development efforts, the first and foremost thing you're interested in is providing your services. But the second thing you're most interested in is providing the fuel to enable you to provide those services, the funding. And so, probably the actual grant proposal itself, the request for funds, be it from a private sector place or a public sector place, is certainly an important thing to focus on. So you'll be getting the most hands-on with that. Let's take a look at the topics that we'll be covering today. Writing a grant proposal, writing winning grant proposals is the first topic. Chronologically, some of these other things happen first. You've got to have effective media relations and so on. But since the centerpiece here is writing a winning grant proposal, and since hopefully you're all fresher now than you will be at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll be starting with that. And in tandem with that, we're going to have a sort of a mini hands-on writing workshop. Obviously, in the context of a 7-hour day with a couple of breaks, you're not going to have a very intensive hands-on writing workshop also. But I want to illustrate some points, and I will be giving you some opportunity to do some independent writing, and I'll be walking around the room to assist, to help you brainstorm and to answer questions. Public outreach and promotional planning, sort of self-evident what that's all about, and we'll talk more about it when we get there. And hand in hand with that is effective event follow-up. If you're planning a dinner affair, let's say, in order to cultivate potential fundraisers or local business people in your community or what have you, well and good, but without effective follow-up, you're going to get very poor results. So that's hand in hand with the outreach. Media relations and PR, including internet PR techniques, and we'll be spending some time on those, because I suspect that many of you are at least a little bit familiar with traditional PR. We'll be talking about that, but many of you may not be that familiar with internet PR and how that's done and how it shouldn't be done. And similarly, these things sort of go in pairs. Advertising and old and new media, advertising and PR, very often go hand in hand. Often they appear in the same publication. And in the world of the internet, there are some additional twists and issues that you ought to be aware of. Everybody has a copy of the presentation in front of them. You can follow along. There's a place to make notes. I'm Eli Wilner. I've been working on and off for Nonprofit Help Desk, doing lots of different things for them, including organizational development, for close to 20 years, pretty much for about as long as NPHD has been around. I am primarily active in the private sector and the entrepreneurial type. I've started and run successfully several businesses. So a lot of what I'm going to be telling you comes from both perspectives, which I think is valuable, because especially when we're talking about things like PR, marketing, writing a proposal, these things are very similar, whether they're in the public and private sector. And I think each of these sectors that I found in the past has something to to offer to the other. So you're going to be getting a dual perspective. We originally anticipated that we would have about 10, 15 people here at these sessions. What? I'm sure there's more coming. We have an enrollment of 45, and so that's why we had to change the venue to this larger room. So you're looking at a bullet item that says roundtable introductions and what do you expect to get out of the sequence. The interaction generally works better if you've got a group of 10 or 15, and it's a little bit harder when there's 40, 45. But I don't intend to stand here all day and just keep spouting. I would really like this to be interactive. So, common sense, there's a lot of people here. We have to be brief with our questions and brief with our contributions, but I definitely want them. So I'd like to go around the room quickly. Everybody just, give us your name, your organization and title, and just briefly, what are your expectations from the OD sequence and from OD1? You've had a chance to look at the curriculum that we just reviewed. And throughout the presentation, don't hesitate to interrupt. Just raise your hand. I'll stop, or I'll finish my sentence and I'll stop. And I do want to make it a dialogue because the more you walk away from here with information that's helpful to you in particular, the better off you are. And I'm sure that if you have a specific question, there are going to be other people in this room, probably a lot of other people in this room, who are wondering the same thing and who will benefit from the answer as well. So don't hesitate to contribute a remark, ask a question, or even dispute a point that I make. That's fine. We don't all have to agree on everything. So I think we should go around the room, say this way, from the outer edge to the inside. And we can just say your name, your organization, your title, and just briefly what you expect to get out of it. And you just sat down over there, so you can.
My name is Blanca Beza. I'm from Ecuador International Center. I'm the Adult Research Coordination